Chris, you and I have spent a good bit of time now at Yext talking about how discovery is replacing search. Can you quickly restate what you mean by that, and what challenges and opportunities for brands are emerging as a result of that change?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a new way really that's starting to emerge for customers to discover your brand or your products and services or your offerings. That's very different when done through an AI search engine. The results are very specific. For the last 20 years or so, customers put in a search in Google and it required them to chase down various links. You had to hunt to find the type of product, service, or offering you look for. Like everyone's, I'm sure, made the joke like, hey, ignore all my tabs that I've got open. That's
Yeah.
what it would take to find what you're looking for. But now with AI search, you go into Search GPT or Perplexity or Gemini or Copilot, you ask a question and you get a pretty direct answer. If you use the AI search tools frequently too, it starts to learn about you. It starts to know your preferences and provide even better answers to really get tailored for you. So the thing that keeps me up in all of this is like, how does a brand make sure they show up in those direct answers? That's the challenge and the opportunity I think that's facing everybody right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know that because you're often out in the fields, I guess we can say, talking to marketers at conferences, hearing feedback from Yext customers across the board. So what are the questions that people are asking today? Like, what do they need? What are they concerned about? What are they eager to get ahead of?
If I distill it down into just about any question I get asked by marketers, and it's not just in this time of search fragmentation that's happening, it's really any time, but it becomes more prevalent as you see disruption. But it's really kind of three questions that I'm constantly left with from customers is one's, how am I performing? Am I doing well? Am I not? It's an ever-changing landscape. So how do I know how I'm doing? And then the second question of that obviously becomes, how do I compare? Because there's no single thing that you're being measured your performance against. It's really about how is everyone else doing.
Mm,
We want to be able to allow our customers to know how do they compare against either their other locations, against their industry or their verticals, and against their top competitors. And then that'll let you know, like maybe you're doing well, but maybe all of your competitors are doing even better. So what are the things that we could do to help you perform the best? And that really comes to the third question. What do I need to do to improve? These they're pretty much age-old questions, but they're answers that are always in flux given the constant changes happening in marketing. And now we're entering another massive shift from keyword and link search to AI search. And these questions are hard to answer all over again.
yeah, totally. Which on that note, yeah, those are important questions, but actioning them really knowing what you need to know can be a challenge. And so I know it's something your team and us here at Yext as a whole have been wanting to help solve. So that brings us to the recent big announcement about the launch of Scout. Can you briefly talk us through what Scout is, in short, and why it's so exciting?
Yeah, we're really excited to be able to bring Scout to market. It's really at its heart is trying to answer those three questions, not just for traditional search, which we're absolutely going to be doing, but also as we go into this new future of AI search, be able to answer those three questions again. How am I performing? How do I compare? And what do I need to do next? And Scout's really meant to be here to be your digital presence agent, your competitive intelligence agent, cover all of these different aspects to be able to answer those questions and really guide you to what's your most important next action that you can be taking to keep driving further improvement in your marketing activities.
So, Chris, in just a couple sentences, how do you define what Scout is?
Yeah, Scout, it's really meant to be your AI search and competitive intelligence agent. It's for marketers looking to measure and optimize brand visibility and sentiment across both traditional and AI-driven search. Scout delivers a unified platform that delivers deep search insights, competitive benchmarking, and actionable recommendations, and all with a seamless execution in one place. Unlike legacy SEO tools that only focus on Google and other traditional digital networks, Scout uniquely tracks AI-driven search presence, sentiments, and share of voice, and provides prioritized recommendations that can be deployed seamlessly from within the Yext platform.
So what can Scout do for you, and what is maybe the most important pain point or points that Scout solves?
Yeah, so what's the biggest, most important problem Scout solves? To me, it's really that last question. How am I performing? We provide a rich breakdown that provides really in-depth analysis of all of the major factors that impact your performance. Information like listings details, your reputation, your web strategies, or your social media presence, to highlight where you're doing well and where you aren't. And so with Places Scout, the acquisition that we've made, we have a massive data set that we've collected across hundreds of categories. And so we're able to really go deep then into how do I compare? Performance is very relative in marketing. If your numbers are going up, that's great, right? But maybe everyone in your space is going up and they're actually outpacing you. So we can then provide really deep insights into how you compare to other locations in your business, to your competitors, and against your industry. And then what do I need to do to improve? This is one of the most important. Now that we've shown you the data and allow you to verify it, we present it in a really easy to action recommendation. We show you what will have the most impact, and we make it as easy as possible to remedy it, especially if you're a Yext customer already. You'll be able to go in, click on action it, and we'll go automate that action for you.
Yeah, that competitive piece and the improvement piece is huge. On that idea of automating, can you go a little bit deeper agnostically just on this idea of AI agents? Where do you think that we're going to see for the future there, or what can brands expect?
Yeah, an agent, depending on where you ask, you'll kind of get slightly different definitions. But I like to think of it as like agents that help you. They're things that can help you create content. They can help you analyze your data. Agents can act like an SEO specialist. This is all within the marketing realm. They can be a content strategist. And I tend to kind of think of it as the same as any org structure. You have specialized people for doing certain jobs, and those types of specializations are being created in AI agents tailored to do that job well, and they can work with other agents as well. So I'll give you an example. Scout is one part agent focused on addressing those three questions I've been talking about. How am I performing? How do I compare? What do I need to do next? It can then hand off to our other agents that help you create content, for example. Within our Yext product, we have some agents for listings, others that help you respond to reviews, others that create social content. So our Scout agent can interact with your other Yext agents to give you recommendations, but then be able to act on it and, for example, create a really high performing piece of social content. So that's how we're really approaching a lot of this.
Cool. And we may have already touched on some of this a little bit because obviously the insights and recommendations are so cool. But what do you think is the most exciting feature of Scout? What's the wow factor for you?
Absolutely. When I used to talk to marketers like 5 years ago, it would be show me the data. Now it doesn't stop there with show me the data. It's show me the data and show me what I need to do about it. There's so much data now. How do you go through it? How do you find the trends that are worth acting on? And so really the most important part of Scout is our recommendations. We'll provide our customers with the ability to go really deep into the data, but where Scout shines is in making sense of that data, our ability to highlight areas of opportunity and then turning that into an actionable recommendation a customer can easily act on.
Love that. And finally, it's always fun to put on our future forward-looking hat. So let's look a little long term without getting too crazy. What do you expect to see over the next 6 to 12 months? How will the search or really discovery landscape continue to change? And what should brands be doing now to get a competitive edge?
Yeah, it's, we talk a lot about AI search. It is still somewhat nascent. Like it's still only a small percentage of total search share. And the way I kind of think about it is there's, kind of a mom test. Does my mom use Search GPT or Perplexity or Gemini or Copilot?
No. And does she?
No,
she doesn't. Neither does
totally.
No, it's
She's
not
like,
happening.
You work with AI? And I'm like, yeah, I can tell you a little bit about this.
My mom uses DuckDuckGo, and I just bookmarked it on her phone, and that's her experience with search for anything, and she uses it to look up phone numbers and call places. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's funny, but I think my mom is far off from using Search GPT?
Right.
Not at all.
She uses easier it becomes. Yeah.
Apple is baking this stuff like OpenAI directly into their devices through Apple Intelligence. They're still honing it, but once the average user, once we start crossing this chasm, it's going to take off, because when people really start to realize just how effective it is and how much it gets to know you and what you're looking for, it's something that you don't go back from my experience. So even though we're still in kind of early adopter phase for this, I don't think we're far off from crossing that chasm into like wide adoption of this technology. And so for marketers, it's obviously very important to try to precede that shift that's happening, that fragmentation, that revolution back into a new form, just like it was when there was the browser battles and search battles of early 2000s. We're very much at that point. Again, we're on the cusp of it. It's a race again to re-own this new space.
Right. Totally agree. And the stickiness is just incredible. I don't know. There are all kinds of, metaphors and analogies you can use, but it's like crossing the country in a covered wagon when there were cars and trains. Like there is something that's just so much better and so much more intuitive and so much more powerful that just like you could go back, but why would you want to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, anything else you want to share, Chris, or does that pretty much wrap us up?
I think one obvious part of all of this is you need tools to help you understand your presence, but how do you actually control it? There is no login for Search GPT like you have with your Google business profile. There's no analytics. So how do you manage that presence? Well, these LLMs, these AI search agents are backed on everything that's across the web. It crawls listings, it crawls reviews, it crawls your first party web content, it crawls your social. So really more than ever, it's more important to have accurate and consistent data across the entire web. For Search GPT, Google's just one data point. Where Google used to control just about every consumer's view of the internet, it's not that same viewpoint when they're going through non-Google based products. And so all of a sudden, some website that you're being mentioned on that you're not active on and might be out of date is getting pulled up as a citation in information for your consumers. So it's just becoming incredibly important to have a tool like Yext that has a knowledge graph that can be able to take all of your data, manage it in a clean, consistent way, and push that information out in an accurate, consistent, and manageable way across the entire web to give you the best chance to show up in these AI search engines. The more consistent you are, the more likely you are to be showing up because they want to have high signal and intent that this information is accurate. They don't want to hallucinate information. And so it's important. The most important way that you can kind of prepare for this is to have a system like Yext in place to help manage all of that information and be as present as wide as possible.
For sure. All right. Thank you, Chris. This is awesome.